morning, guys, and welcome back to TSTV for the match review of Chelsea 2, Ipswich Town 2. Now, yesterday really was the day the music died, didn't it? Because theoretically, we are still in the race for Champions League football. Technically, because Nottingham Forest lost to Everton, we're only 3 points off third at this moment in time. But obviously, given that Newcastle United won one of their games in hand against Man United, they're now 2 points above us, and they can go 5 points above us if they beat Crystal Palace in midweek. So theoretically, 3 points off third. I think 1 off City and 2 off Newcastle as things stand. It's not that bad, right? But let's be very, very clear. Chelsea will not get into the Champions League next season. They will not finish in the top 5. It's over. It's done. Just like this project is done, just like this ownership should be done. And for the first time, I'm going to say it, just like this manager really should be done. Now, on the game itself, I mean, this is a video that kind of transcends just one game, doesn't it? Isn't it, really? I mean, it's all about the bigger picture, because the bigger picture for the season was qualifying for the Champions League. There was a 2 or 3 week period where we all got excited and we thought maybe there'd be a tighter challenge, but reality soon kind of set in, and to be honest, I never thought we would win the league. So really, the target for the whole season has been to get Champions League football, and it's been made even easier by the fact that there is an extra space, so there's 5 spaces to get into the Champions League, and also by the fact that so many teams have been pretty rubbish this year. I mean, you look at Man United and Tottenham, they're not even in the conversation. They've not been in the conversation pretty much the whole season. Aston Villa and Newcastle, despite, I think, being better teams and having much better managers than us, have not been as consistent as they were in previous years. You got City, who have been absolutely nowhere near their best, and we've still blown it. We have still blown it. And this game against Ipswich yesterday, that was a non-negotiable 3 points. We simply had to win. And I'm a pessimist, right? I'm someone that always kind of sees glass half empty rather than glass half full when it comes to Chelsea. But I thought we would win the game comfortably. I thought that it would be a routine 3 points, and we could then think about Fulham next week and trying to build a little bit of a run together, given the fact that we've got so many tough fixtures to come. And even when I saw Ipswich's team sheet, remember, they started the game without probably their 3 best players in Amari Hutchinson, Liam Delap, and Sammy Smodics, but also their 3 top scorers. They were, essentially, it was a bit of a reserve side that they put out. And we still found ourselves 2-0 down at half-time. Now, there'll be people that will say, give credit to the team, they came back in the second half. We got it back to 2-2. The keeper made a few great saves towards the end and we could have won it. But that will just not wash at all. Since February 24th, which was the game against Southampton, we have not scored a single goal in first halves of football. I think it's over 400 minutes now or something ridiculous. You can't keep not turning up for 45 minutes at a time in games. It's simply unacceptable. And it's almost like it's flipped, because earlier in the season we would start games quite well and then completely tail off in the second half. Now we start games absolutely appallingly and then we play a bit better in the second half. We look a bit more of a threat, but if you just give up the ghost in a first half of football, then it's too late a lot of the time. The game's already gone. And yesterday, that's what it was. It was too little too late to get back to 2-2. To take 1 point out of 6 against Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town, listen, no disrespect to them. They're one of the worst Premier League teams that we have seen. They're going to go down with a whimper. They've won 1 home game all season. And guess who that was against? That was against us, wasn't it? So they've been really, really poor. 14 points off Wolves in 17th. They're absolutely miles away from being a Premier League side. They're going to go straight back down to the Championship, and they've taken 4 points off us this season. And it could have been 6. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. And the reason why I say this project is toast is that now we're screwed. Let's put it bluntly, we're screwed. We had to get Champions League football this season. It had to happen. We had to get that extra revenue. We even gambled with our shirt sponsorship so that we would get into the Champions League next season, we would get a better deal. Where are those offers going to be coming from now? They're going to be even less than they were this season. So we've just messed around on the commercial side for absolutely no reason. And because of PSR issues of not making it into the Champions League, we're going to have to look to sell some players that we don't want to sell. And we're not going to be able to bring in the quality of players that we need to bring in to be able to compete. And I can bet your bottom dollar next year, Liverpool, now Van Dijk and Salah have signed, they actually will have money to spend because they didn't spend any last summer. They will be better. Arsenal, they will get their act together and sign a centre forward. They will be better. Manchester City will be better. Newcastle will be better. Aston Villa will be better. Manchester United won't be as bad as they have been this season. Tottenham won't be as bad as they have been this season. The opportunity to kind of walk into 5th place or in the top 5, which we had this season, is not going to be there. So this project is over. They've rolled the dice, they've gambled, they've put everything on red, and you know what? It's come up black. In my opinion, this ownership should be gone. I don't want them at the football club. They stand against everything I detest in terms of how an ownership should run a football club, and they failed on every single metric that it takes to be a good owner. And we're not talking about just a normal Premier League team. We were the champions of Europe when they took over. We were the Club World Cup champions, and they failed. They failed abjectly. Their directors of football, the sporting directors, have failed abjectly. Not good enough. They need to go. They don't have any place at this football club. They're out of their depth, completely out of their depth. And they're going to continue to make the same decisions again and again and again. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And this is what this ownership have done. This is what the sporting directors have done. This is what this team is doing. And now this is what Enzo Maresca is doing. And look, I've been someone that's largely backed Enzo Maresca this season. I thought that we started off the season well and we did hit a bit of a bump. And I thought that would probably come at the start of the season. But that bump has gone on for way too long. And again, as I say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And in the last, this isn't 2 or 3 games, the last 5 months, he's been shown to be tactically out of his depth. He's out of his depth when it comes to communication and speaking to the media. And he's out of his depth in game management. In terms of results, he's out of his depth. He's just an average manager. And that's being kind. He's an average manager. And that is being kind. Maybe one day he will be a very good manager. I don't know. I have my doubts. But at this moment in time, he is very, very average. And there's, legitimate arguments to say, well, we can't keep sacking managers. We need to back our manager. We need to give our manager time. If Maresca's showing what he is currently showing us, and he's very, very stubborn and he's not going to change, then what's the point of wasting another season? What's the point? Tottenham have done this with Ange Postecoglou. He finished 5th last year after a really good start. They kept hold of him. Maybe rightly so. But now they've got themselves into a hole this season because they don't want to sack him because of the Europa League. And look where they are now. They're lucky that the 3 teams below them are so bad that they're not going to get relegated. You can't just hang on to a manager just because we feel that we should give a manager at some point in time. If they're not good enough, they're not good enough. I've been very patient with Maresca, I think, this season. Obviously, there's times where he's really, really frustrated me. There's been times where I've called for us to back him as a fan base a little bit more. But when you're 2-0 down at home to Ipswich, when you're drawing 2-2, when you're dropping points left, right and centre, when you're making team selection decisions like he's done at Brentford recently, when we're seeing performances like we have done against Brighton away in the league, Brighton away in the cup, and numerous others that I can list off. And sorry, I can't back you anymore. I just can't. And it's not because I hate Maresca or because I have some sort of agenda against him, or it's like a Benitez situation where I just don't like him and, whatever he does, really, I'm going to want him to go. It's not been like that for me this season. I've wanted to back him, and I generally have, but I'm done. I'm done with it now. He's not good enough. I've seen the light. He is not good enough. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Enzo Maresca is not good enough at this stage to manage Chelsea Football Club. What's the point in going into next season with a manager that we know is not good enough? What's the point in wasting a whole season, going for potentially a 4th or a 5th season without Champions League football? It's just out of pure stubbornness that this ownership will continue down this path. If the ownership in the summer get rid of the sporting directors, get a proper football operator to come in and revolutionise the way in which we scout players. Again, don't lose all of it, but still scout young players, but try and get the best in class as well to help us immediately. If someone can come in and do that and they get rid of Winstanley and Stewart, and if they go and say, look, we've tried this data-driven approach with a manager, we've tried to get a young manager in that can kind of grow with us, and do you know what? It's not worked. We're going to go for a best-in-class manager. Then do you know what? Even I, who detest this ownership and want them to go, and at the moment I still stand by that, I'd say, okay, you got one more chance. But do you know why I'm not giving them that grace? Because they're not going to do that. They absolutely are not going to do that. It's just totally unacceptable. And the best case we can hope for is if they do sack Maresca, it will be another data-led driven manager who's done absolutely nothing in the game. We'll probably end up with Russell Martin or something like that, and they'll tell us like how he's going to be the next Pep Guardiola and how we're onto a good thing and how we're very lucky to have him and how they trust him. And even though he's making inept tactical decisions, even though he's not communicating what he needs to in the media, that, he's going to stay for the next 5 years. It's just a load of rubbish. It is an absolute load of rubbish. And again, just going back to Maresca briefly, I said recently that after the Leicester game, I think it was, at full time, that it wasn't a very good performance at all. But we do need to back the team. We've got 3 points. We need to try and get through to the end of the season. I still maintain that. But given the results and the performances over the last 5 months, when we're 2-0 down to Ipswich, when players are playing it out the back and they're passing it straight out of play or straight to an Ipswich Town player, when Robert Sanchez is doing his usual nonsense, I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy, and fans have every right to voice their opinion. Do I want players to get booed on the ball? No. But fans have a right to actually go, do you know what? I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now. And there's not one supporter, unless you're just absolutely a Maresca fanboy and just totally deluded, that could have been sitting there yesterday at half time pleased with what we saw. It was totally unacceptable in that first half. Again, as I said, the second half was better. Keeper made some great saves towards the end. Jadon Sancho's goal was great, but the damage was already done. And as you may have noticed in this video, this isn't really kind of a match review in its most traditional form. The match kind of, in the contents of the game, is irrelevant. The result is really the most important thing here. And the result means that we're not going to get Champions League football this season. If we're lucky, we'll get into the Europa League, or we'll win the Conference League and we'll qualify for the Europa League that way. But don't even hold your breath on any of that right now. The season, as far as Champions League football concerned, is done. It's finished. It's toast. As I said, just like the owners, just like sporting directors, just like this team, and just like this manager. Look at the fixtures we have left. Fulham away, Everton at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Man United at home, Forest away. I almost guarantee we will not win more than one of those games. I think we'll be lucky to win one of those games, actually. We'll be very lucky to win one of those games. I could easily see us not winning any of them. Maybe a couple of draws, but, 4 losses and 2 draws or something like that. I can easily foresee that happening. Because this team has shown time and time again that they cannot be trusted to perform and get the required results in the most demanding environments, in the most demanding of games. They're spineless. The manager's spineless. As I said, the players are spineless. The owners are spineless. The sporting directors are spineless. And again, just going back to Maresca, he blamed the fans after the game the other day. It's just absolute rubbish. All he's doing now is deflecting. He knows that the season's done. He knows that top 4 or 5 rather is done. And yeah, that's it. He's just deflecting. And what can I say, guys? Just so disappointed, so disheartened. Yesterday, I had a few technical difficulties, which is why the video is late, but I was absolutely fuming. I'm still fuming now. But it's done, man. It's done. This season, I just wanted to end, to be very, very honest with you. And as I was saying to someone earlier, we don't even get June or July off from these idiots. I'm going to have to watch them throughout June and July. I don't even get a month off for over 2 years of not watching this absolute rubbish. And we're not even going to have a proper pre-season, so it's going to be even worse next season. So, yeah, don't know what else to say. I'm just, totally disheartened. Clearlake out, sporting directors out, Maresca out. That's all I have to say, really. I'll see you guys for the match preview for Legia Warsaw at home. Really looking forward to that one. Oh, goodness me, what a waste of time that's going to be. But I'll see you for the match preview for Chelsea versus Legia Warsaw. Hopefully we can beat Legia and we can go through to the semi-finals, even though we're already through. Yay. But yeah, as I said, Clearlake out, Maresca out, sporting directors out. I'll see you guys in the week and take care of yourself.